Hi, welcome back to Movie Review Mom. And if this is your very first time visiting my channel, yay, you're here. You made it. I'm so glad. I hope you like what you see. I hope you stay. I hope you subscribe and comment down below about what movies you've seen, that you've loved, that you want me to review. And I will get right on that. So today I'm wearing my Asian inspired shirt. I've been to China, Korea, and Japan and love those countries, but I've never been to Southeast Asia. Actually, I got these earrings. Can you see my earrings? I got these the first time I went to Japan. I've been many times for business and I love Asia. And today's movie is all about Southeast Asia. I'll tell you about it in just a minute. But the name of the movie I'm reviewing is called Raya and the Last Dragon. This movie is available in theaters and on Disney Plus, which is the good news. The bad news is there's a hefty $30 surcharge on top of your Disney membership. Boo. I hate it when Disney does that. The first time that they did it was with the movie Mulan. And that's just to rent it. It's almost $30 to rent instead of to actually own the video. Wah, wah. So I'm not really happy about that. And I'm not the only one who's complaining about that. But the good news is that the movie is lovely. So let me tell you about it. It's rated PG and it's an hour and 47 minutes long. And I'm going to give you my score at the end of my review. So I'm going to give you first an overview of the movie in a nutshell. I'll point out things I liked and didn't like, as well as give you tips for parents, recommendations for other films that I think that you'll also enjoy, and point out some themes that are worth talking about with your family. All right, so let's dive in. This is Disney's newest feature film, and it really feels like an epic adventure in Southeast Asia. It's actually the very first of its kind that features the beauty of Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, Myanmar, Malaysia, Indonesia, Laos, and the Philippines. So the production team toured many of those locations to get a feel for designing the cultures of this part of the world. The word Raya actually means great in Indonesian. So is the movie great? I think yes, in some aspects. However, it misses the mark in just a few others. So I'll get to that in just a second. But first, can you believe that this is Walt Disney Animation Studios' first fantasy film to not be a musical since The Black Cauldron in 1985? Isn't that amazing? It's also the very first Disney princess movie of the 2020s. Jennifer Lee's leadership at Disney Animation Studios seems to offer a more mature perspective, especially seen in the most recent movies like Frozen 2, for example. Now, although he's only credited as co-director of this film, this is the directorial debut of Paul Briggs, who also gets some writing credit. So I love to see new talent getting into the mix. This new film also introduces us to several new voiceover actors. So let me tell you some of the things that I really liked about the movie. First of all, the animation is gorgeous with rich details, striking colors, and realistic textures that you can almost feel with your fingers. It's just a beautiful movie to look at. The animation studios at Disney is just unbelievable. We're so spoiled. Because of that, the cinematography is beautiful. There are just lush landscapes and environments that are stunning. The character animation is also stellar. And again, just visually, this movie is beautiful. The strong cast includes some wonderful voice talent that has already been a part of the Disney production family, as well as a few newbies like Kelly Marie Tran, Aquafina, Isaac Wing, Gemma Chan, Daniel Day Kim, Benedict Wong, and even Alan Tudyk. I love that guy. Much, but not all of the cast is of Asian descent. So I thought it was really cute that Raya's adventures introduce us to a lot of really entertaining characters along her journey. They're not fully fleshed out, but there is something for everyone. For example, a baby and fuzzy animals. Always a good combination. There's a villain who looks like and reminds me of the beautiful Ruby Rose. I've always liked her look, but she's actually not the only villain. I don't want to give you spoilers, but just know that there's other stuff going on. There are definitely some magical moments that remind you that you're watching a Disney movie. They just have that magical Disney touch. And I always look for that when I'm reviewing a Disney film. The fighting style that Raya uses with two sticks is actually based on the Filipino martial art called Kali or Kali. I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce it. It's also known as arnis or eskrima. So the fight scenes look really sophisticated and almost like it's live action sequences, really well done and again, very sophisticated for an animation. There's a lovely musical score by James Newton Howard. And although the story is completely formulaic, Disney still successfully got me to tear up at the end of the movie. And I always look for that when I'm reviewing Disney movies. I expect that and I want that. I want there to be a great story, great animation, but I really want to have Disney bring the feels and cause me to feel something and even cry a little bit. And I did. So, mission accomplished. I love it when adventures include traveling through various lands with distinct cultures. And so the world building in this movie I thought was mesmerizing and really fun and interesting. I would have liked to have seen them expand it even more. And if this movie does well, there could be a sequel that allows us to explore those other lands. And I would be excited to see that for sure. So, with all of that praise, there were some things that I didn't like about this movie. First of all, I've seen a surprising number of negative reviews, mostly by fans. I think the critics are in agreement that it's a beautiful, gorgeous, stunning animation. But so many people are complaining that the story is just a hot mess, although they agree that the animation is extremely good. I wonder if it's that the critics are getting free access to the screeners and the fans are having to pay for that Disney subscription and that $30 surcharge. I don't know if that has anything to do with it or not. But there's a lot more to it than that. For example, there is a lot of exposition. That means people are explaining everything you're seeing and why they're doing what they're doing and what's going to happen next. And one of the rules of writing and showing great fiction is to show, not tell. You kind of expect some exposition in the beginning of a movie because this is a whole new world that we're unfamiliar with, but it goes on throughout the entire film. Even with all of that exposition, the story might be a little bit confusing for kids. Not all of the jokes and gags land, at least they didn't land for me. And even some of the characters won't land with audiences. And speaking of the character development wasn't as rich as it could have been. I read a review that said that Disney is afraid to have villains. And I thought that was an interesting comment, especially since the main villain of this story is kind of an ethereal blob. And I mentioned that there are more than one villains. The movie is very predictable. This story is intriguing, but it looks like it's been borrowed from a lot of other movies that we've already seen. Now, when it comes to the theme of this movie, Disney is pretty good about bashing themes over our heads, but we don't really feel the clarity of this theme until Act 3. The theme is all about trust. And I wondered about the messaging of this movie because it's kind of telling us that we need to just blindly trust people who have wronged us before. Now, I understand the theme and the lesson and the importance of forgiveness, but I wonder about the wisdom of just telling kids, just trust everybody, because that's not wise advice for children who maybe can't discern between people who deserve forgiveness and those who are going to continue to hurt them. You know what I mean? So I just was a little iffy on that whole theme that they decided on. Another thing that really bugged me was that the design of the dragons doesn't seem to fit with the Southeast Asian style, which I found to be very elegant and sophisticated and ancient looking in the motifs and the styles and even the colors. The dragons look more like fluffy toys that you're going to buy merchandise for, at the toy store, with pastel hair that would sit on the shelf next to an exhibit of My Little Pony. It just seemed to disconnect with this beautiful, elegant animation style that the movie starts off with. So I was like, whoa, okay. And then another thing that just kind of got under my skin is that this is yet another Disney female empowerment movie that features mostly wise women and then just poor men that are kind of doofus, that don't really contribute much. I have 4 sons, so I'm still waiting for some good, strong male characters in movies, especially from Disney again. And then finally, one thing that I really missed was having fun surprises or sneak peeks or something fun worth watching during the final rolling credits. All right, let me give you some tips for parents. First of all, there's some cartoon fighting. That's not a big surprise. Your kids will be introduced to the concept of credit in a particular sequence of scenes. In other words, getting what you want now with the promise of paying for it later. So use this as an opportunity to talk to your children about wise financial management. It's supposed to be funny in the movie, but it can get kids into a dangerous mindset when they think that they can just get anything they want now and assume that they're going to have magical money appear to pay for it later on. There's no profanity in the movie. Yay, love that. Thank you, Disney. And then people turn into stone, and there's a lot of destruction and mayhem, and people get hurt and that kind of thing. All right, so some themes that the movie does illustrate well are trust, hope, community, and working together. Now, whenever I watch movies, I always write down the funny lines and the interesting lines to share with you and in my written review at moviereviewmom.com. And as I was looking at my notes, I realized I didn't write any funny lines. And that kind of surprised me because I thought I remembered laughing or snickering at least, but it could have been visual gags more than verbal gags and verbal humor. But there were plenty of interesting lines that I wrote down. I'll share just a few of them with you right now, and then you can look at the other ones on my website. So the character Benja, who's played by Daniel Day Kim, is the father, and he's trying to teach his daughter about trust. And he says, if we don't learn to trust each other, it's only a matter of time before we tear each other apart. And again, that's a big theme, is to mend broken fences and to reach out and offer forgiveness. He also says later on, today is a new day. And I liked that message of hope that every day we wake up is a new day with new opportunities where we can learn the lessons from the past, but move forward. And then in another conversation, Raya is talking to one of the dragons and she says, the world is broken. You can't trust anyone because she has been betrayed. And then this dragon, whose name is Sisu, who's voiced by Aquafina, says, maybe the world is broken because you don't trust anyone. So there are lots of insightful messages about trust and forgiveness and hope in the movie. So I want you to talk to your family and your kids about that and how they can demonstrate trust, but also how they can develop the ability to discern. All right, you ready to hear my grade for this movie? After all of my praise for the animation, I would give it an A+, but with the storyline and some of the other missing elements, I'm dropping it down to a B+. So I would love to hear your comments down below. Comment, tell me what grade you would give this movie. So before we go, let me give you some recommendations for other films that I think you might really enjoy that are sort of similar. The first is a movie called Moana, which I love, and I've seen it a bunch of times. The animation is gorgeous. The music is gorgeous. The heroine is flawed, but hopeful and triumphant. And there's some great characters. Anyway, love that movie. And it also has a sense of trusting and building community. Another one that focuses on Asian culture that has gorgeous animation is called Kubo and the Two Strings. So check that one out. And then finally, another one about dragons that portrays a very different type of dragon is Pete's Dragon from 2016. Beautiful, and it merges live action with this animated dragon. All right, that's it for my review today. I hope if you watch this movie, you love it and that you think it's worth the money spent, and you have a great conversation with your family afterwards. Thanks for supporting me on Patreon. And there are plenty of ways to support my channel for free, simply by subscribing, liking this video, telling your friends to subscribe, and commenting down below. I really appreciate your support. All right, have a fantastic day, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye for now.